Wow, hello. Oh my gosh, what a beautiful introduction. That was amazing. Okay.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, good. It's so good to see you, my honey. So
Mhm.
I'm really, really excited for this. I've been looking forward to this for so long. And I had to actually go back today and I was thinking, when did we actually connect? And we actually connected in October 2020.
Oh wow, it's
And
been a year.
yeah. And I was just like, when I heard that I was able to make this connection with you. I was so excited because, finally for me, I was able to make a connection with someone on a similar journey, who has left the organization, who is a woman, and wanting to know your experience and what you've been through. So, and then I've just been able to sit back and watch you throughout the year and watch you transform into this most incredible person
Oh,
that you've actually always been. Um, but you've really reclaimed your power back, right? And it really oozes out of you now. And you can just see this volume of energy and passion behind your art, your creativity, all of these little things that you're jumping in. You're in a panel now. You've created this beautiful XJW Ladies and Laughs group with some other beautiful women. And yeah, I'm really excited to be on this call today so that we can really touch into Michelle and learn about your journey, babe. And we all want to know your story. So the first thing is like, tell us about your journey with being a Jehovah's Witness.
okay. Thank you for the introduction as well, and I'm so glad I can do this with you because you're just the best. um, but back to
Thanks.
me. um, so I guess it all started. My mum started studying with the Jehovah's Witnesses when I was 5. And then for about 10 years, we were moving around Auckland and she was studying on and off. So it was always like part of my life. And pretty much all that I knew for those 10 years was going to meetings and having studies with random witnesses in the congregations we moved to. Um, and then she got baptized when I was 15, and we were in a West Auckland congregation. Um, and then I think I tried to get baptized maybe a couple times when I was 16 and 17, but I was actually told no by the elders because I didn't answer enough at the meetings, and the other time was right after I was finishing exams and stuff, and I had a month where I didn't go out field service. And so they were like,
Oh,
you've got a 0, so sorry, you can't get baptized. So
well,
I
that was
could
a
have
blessing.
taken those. Well, I wish I had taken that as a fine. I'm not going to get baptized then. But instead, it made me work harder towards it, and I ended up getting baptized at 19. Um, but I always felt like I was the daughter of a study for such a long time. Like, I was never good enough, even back then. Um, and then, so from 19 till I guess like I left when I was 35, which was February this year. I was just constantly trying to keep up and trying to do my best, and I took it very seriously in terms of like, you can't do this and you can't do that. And so I didn't do this and I didn't do that. Um, I was like never good enough for the people in the congregation and
Yeah.
things like that. Eventually, I ended up in the Spanish congregation, which I loved because It was it was just more vibrant than like a suburb congregation that you get up here in Auckland. The brothers and sisters were really nice, um, but it was like I felt like in a way it was an easy way for me to go to the meetings, feel like I'm doing good because it's a foreign language, but I could also do the bare minimum in terms of answering and going
Yeah.
field service. Because I could just say like the child's answer and it would be amazing because it's not my first language. And
Mm,
people
yeah.
would be like, good answer. And I'm like, yeah. And then was going field service. It was kind of like a lot of cart witnessing, where you get to just sort of sit there with the cart, and like informal, just walking around the city, seeing if you hear anyone that speaks Spanish, and talking to them if you want to, if there's an opening. So I kind of like, looking back now, I'm like, oh, that was me, like already kind of mentally checking out, but still
Mm,
somehow hanging in there and believing it.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, so there was a lot like in that 15 years or so that went on. Like my mom stopped going to meetings and she became inactive. My brother never got baptized and he was never interested. He went off and got married and had kids. Um, and then it was just me, and it was kind of like I would get the whole like, oh, you're alone in the truth. You do so well. And I'm like, well, it's the only thing that I know what to do. So I just keep going. And my mother and I, we don't have a good relationship due to how she was bringing us up. She's very negative and mm, like, I don't want to talk about it too much because it's a bit of a bummer, but now I've gone no contact with her. But during the time that I was a witness, I was doing my best to go and see her, um, and, keep in contact. But I was not allowed to talk much with my aunts and cousins and things like that. Like, everyone in the congregations were like, "Oh, you can't go see them because they're worldly. Like, they're not your family. We're your family now." So I was felt like I was on my own, even more
Mm,
so. And the people that I was friends with, I viewed them as family. So when I left, that was huge for me because they were like my family. I love my friends, and I'm deeply saddened that none of them really reached out or even thought twice about why I left and how I left, which I will get to. Um, and now I'm rebuilding like my relationships with my aunts and cousins, um, that haven't really been a part of my life for the last very long time.
yeah. Yeah.
um,
Beautiful.
but yeah,
And how are you finding that reconnection?
and it's good as well. Like, I'm also learning that even with making friends in the world with normal
Mm,
people, to have boundaries, and that you don't have to, like, as a witness, we're told you have to put aside your differences and keep the peace in the congregation and just like basically let anything happen to you,
mhm.
um, which happened a few times for me. So yeah, I'm sort of figuring out like, okay, even though someone's family, it doesn't necessarily mean that I have to be around them all the time, or like confide in them like I would with people that I thought were my friends.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I love
sort
that.
of
I
like
love.
re-establishing myself.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. And I love that, you're really implementing that boundary work. So important, right? To protect ourselves going forward and to be treated how we want to be treated, and that making sure that our yes is a yes and a no is a no. But
Mm.
so, can we just like tap into like when you were growing up as a JW and then you started experiencing this, like, I don't know if this is really me. Like,
Hmm.
when did that moment happen for you? Like, when was that pivotal moment where you're like, I don't know if I can do this?
Like when I left, kind of thing.
Mm, yeah.
So what happened was, let's go right on into it. Um, Last year in 2020, our awesome worldwide pandemic occurred,
Yeah.
which for me happened about a month after my boyfriend of 2 years and myself, we broke up. So I was already quite low. um, then we had the pandemic. We were in lockdown. I lived by myself. Um, at the time, I wasn't close with my extended family, as I just mentioned, and I just felt on my own. And my congregation, um, sort of didn't look after me. It was more all about looking after the pioneers and pioneers looking after pioneers and things, and I just kind of fell through the cracks. I also lost my job working for Witnesses because they were affected by the pandemic, apparently. Also, another fun story was that I was severely bullied by them for the last 3 years before leaving that job. But so that was a huge blessing that I did lose that job, like whoever it came from. But at the time, I couldn't see it that way. I was just like, oh my God, like I'm by myself. My boyfriend and I have broken up. I've lost my job. Nobody cares. And I kind of broke, I guess. And I've always struggled with depression and anxiety, more intensely when I was a witness. It's still there now, but I feel like there's just been a big relief since leaving. But at the time, say around mid 2020, I still hadn't found a new job and things were tough for me. I felt suicidal and I ended up reaching out to my doctor, and thankfully I got some free therapy sessions, and I was able to talk to a therapist, which was just amazing because she pointed me in the right direction towards what I needed to be looking at to help with when I feel dark. And I ended up online one day, sort of looking at like different therapy things. I think I was on Reddit and I came across the XJW subreddit, and I started looking. And at the same time, my aunt, one of them, like we were friends on Facebook, but I didn't hang out with them too much, she was sending me all these conspiracy theory videos, and I was just like, this is nuts. Like, how do they believe what they believe? Like, this is crazy. How can she? And then I just kind of was like, wait, hold on. How do I believe what I believe? Like, that this big Armageddon's going to happen soon and Jesus is going to come down with a sword on a horse and kill everyone, which is just like mental. And then with having just been on the XJW subreddit, I just poured over it, just like couldn't get enough. And then I got connected with a group of XJWs in upstate New York. So now I've got like this little group of like an extended family up there that they're taking me on as an honorary member, and I love them to bits. And then from there, I was put in contact with, I think, Shuri and Sasha for the Australian XJWs, and then we got on to Shane, and then you, and then you've all helped me so much. Really and I was just basically, debunking the whole JW thing for myself, which included, a lot of time on jwfacts.com, which was just, I could not, I don't know if I would have found out everything if that hadn't been a resource. So I'm eternally grateful to Paul Grundy for that.
It's pretty incredible. So I'm
sorry,
just
I feel like I've just been like, ah!
No, it's been amazing. Like, so you went from this, like transition. So you actually hit a pretty major rock bottom in your life, and like losing your job, like having that breakup with your boyfriend, and then just feeling completely abandoned by the world that you thought would be supportive, right? And you came and you crashed down into what we call a rock bottom. And, a lot of us have been there. We've been in the state of like, oh my God, like, I don't know what to do with my life. And then we feel, often feel suicidal, or we get quite, really depressed and experience those anxiety. And then look what appeared for you. Like, you were able, you took that courage and that strength and that bravery, and you said, I choose me. I choose something different. I want to get help. And that's what we want to share with everyone in here is like, we have a choice. And I resonate with you so much with my own story.
As well, I think to highlight that I did try and speak to people in my congregation. And I remember getting the whole, well, have you tried looking at your personal study? Like, maybe it's lacking. Or have you tried praying to Jehovah? And it's like, of course I've tried that. That's all I've been told I can do. Nothing's working. So, yeah, it's you're not going to get help from these random men in your congregation. You need professional help. Yeah,
you do. You definitely need, that professional help, and that's so beautiful. And you did that. Like, you did ask for help, like you said, and you weren't getting that. And then you went and got that therapy. So what was the key? Is there any, like, can you remember from that therapy session, like, what was the, those little points that they gave you to help you get to this next part?
I think especially she talked about, putting yourself first and protecting yourself. Which of course is the complete opposite of what Jehovah's Witnesses are taught. Like, you should never put yourself first, lest Jehovah smite you on the spot.
And so true, Michelle. Like, and this was the same as me. Like, I remember even getting the Bible out, and I'm just like, come on, like, prove to me that this is the right religion. Like, you must have something in there that has something to do with self-love, because we can't take care of other people if we can't take care of ourselves.
Exactly.
But I could not find anything. And I went on the JW.org, nothing. So that is beautiful. And that's something, for everyone here that's listening or watching, that yes, we have to love ourselves first. That's the most important thing. And that was something we were never allowed to do.
And definitely putting up boundaries and doing, what is called the shadow work, which is, working on and figuring out your past traumas and working on it and figuring out your triggers and keeping yourself accountable, I guess, to grow from this and to move forward. So
that is so beautiful.
I think that's also stuff that you're not encouraged to do as a witness. Like, how dare you put up boundaries? What if your fellow brother or sister needs something? Yeah,
I love that. What beautiful advice, eh? That we could take from that. Yeah, moving forward.
I think it's quite funny as well, because I did see her for those 4 sessions that I got for free, and then I ended up leaving or discovering it wasn't the truth about a month later. And then after I left in February this year, so I figured it, I was going through all of this stuff in October last year, finding out it's not the truth and everything like that. And I kind of hung on until February because I didn't want to lose my friends, because it was all I known, it's all I had.
It's your community.
By the time February rolled around, I was like, I can't do this anymore, because I was invited to and then uninvited to a friend's engagement party or hen's night or something. And it was just like, I thought that I was a close friend to this person, and that's when it hit home that I was like, okay, I don't actually mean anything to these people. I'm out. And so I posted something on
that was
social media.
That was that the definite, like, nah.
That was like the nail in the coffin, made me leave. Or pushed me towards actually vocalizing that I was leaving instead of just fading out. And I realized that I wouldn't be able to fade out because I'm a talker, and I would accidentally say the wrong thing to the wrong person and I'd be disfellowshipped. And I was like, no, I need to make this very clear that it was my decision. And so I posted that on my social media, watched my followers all just leave. I did receive a few like random angry messages or vaguely threatening ones, like, you be careful out there, the world's not safe, etc. I'm sure that we've all experienced. But I was like, I'm not playing by their rules. I'm not disassociating, because that's just a made up corporation rule, and nope.
Yeah.
I'm out. You all know it. You can
Yeah.
all see it. Goodbye.
Yeah. Good girl.
But
Like, that's
I ended
awesome.
up, yeah, going to the therapist again and telling her I left because obviously in the first 4 sessions I was telling her that being a Jehovah's Witness is part of my life.
Mhm.
And then I'm like, I'm sorry, I just left. And she's like, and I was like, I need some help because it's really I've got no friends. I don't know anyone. Help. And
Yeah.
so she helped me a lot again for another just the 1 session because therapy obviously is very expensive here.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
she was amazing and pointed me in the right direction of where to look um, to help myself. So
Oh, that is amazing, Dave. I'm so proud of you. Like,
thanks.
when
It's
you
been
finally, yeah, make that decision, that choice for yourself to go, I want to reclaim my power and I want to live the life that I desire the way I choose. The whole world changes. It's not easy. It's definitely not easy,
and because
babe? But
you know how that'd be as well is that if I tried to fade out, if I dyed my hair pink, if I got a tattoo, if I did anything, someone would be like, "Oh, what are you doing?" Like straight away. So I was like, I don't want to
mm,
have to deal with that. I'm also in a unique position where my family isn't in, and I feel like that's of benefit to other witnesses who are stuck and they can't say anything, that I can speak out. You know,
yeah,
I mean, not
yeah,
other witnesses, other PMOs, I guess,
yeah,
physically and mentally out, who are stuck and they can't say anything. I'm just like, I
yeah,
need to be hello, the J
yeah. Like,
Dubs
look out, world.
cult. Yeah.
um, and it's really, really showing, babe. Like, just everything that you've been doing. Like all of the work, all of the shadow work. Like, you're really starting to come into your own and be like really standing in your power and owning that, which is really beautiful to witness. So when you decided I'm going to do some research and start finding like all of these pages that we never even thought existed, like the XJW Facebook pages and stuff like that. Because I remember doing this. Did you actually find that transition quite easy to go into it, or did it take you a little bit to warm up, or did you just go for it?
I dove straight in after I was just like pouring through Reddit and reading everyone's individual experiences. And then maybe the next day I commented on something and then someone linked me to JDub Fats.
Yeah, yeah.
And from there, like there was one one big thing that stuck out to me there that I can recall right now was that teaching that everyone would be white in the new system. And I mean, to me, it
Mm,
doesn't affect me too much because, hello, look at me, I'm white. But I was like, hey, hold on, like that is wrong. That is wrong. Like I'm fully anti-racist. Do not cross me if someone is doing something racist to someone because I will fight you.
mhm.
And I've never been able to express that. Obviously, being a witness, not allowed to have any kind of views of your own. And then to see that because they're like, we're unity and love and everybody the same, la la la. To see that they started saying stuff like that and then they changed it, it was like, wait, hold on. You haven't cleared this
Mm,
up. There's been no like new light about this. So do you guys still believe this? Is this the true teaching? If so, I don't want to be there. Let alone when I found
yeah,
out that they also taught that you would turn into a man, and I was like, how boring. I do not want to be in this paradise. And I was
yeah,
like, so which is it? Like, you haven't backtracked on this. So either you've got it wrong, or I don't actually want to be a part of this religion because gross. Um,
yeah.
yeah, that was just
There's
one
the
incident
equality in
that,
that,
that
eh?
really
Like,
stuck
yeah,
out.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
I'm just,
exactly.
I was appalled, like, to see that there in writing and just the way that it's all been glossed over. Like, I think I visited the States in 2016. Well, I've been 3 times, but I think the last time I went, my friend mentioned how the Kingdom Halls were segregated. And I was like, what? Like, wouldn't it have been never segregated? And you guys would have just been like, no, this is not what Jehovah wants. And we would have just all been going to the meetings. Like, I couldn't make that make sense, but in my head, I was just like, oh, well, Jehovah will sort it out, because at the time I was obviously fully in. But
yeah.
yeah,
So it was
to
quite,
see
it
it
was quite
actually
divided.
in writing.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I was just like, this doesn't make sense. And then
Mm.
later I came across, you know, the Australian Royal Commission, and just fully seeing Jeffrey Jackson sitting there and saying that we would not presume to be God's only channel on earth. I was like, you fucking liar. Like, excuse my language. And I'm sure many
Yeah.
people who have seen that thought the same thing. But I was just like, are you kidding me? Like, I've sat in the Kingdom Hall since I was 5 years old listening to you guys say that we're the faithful and discreet slave giving you spiritual food from Jehovah. Yeah. That one made me mad.
Well,
and I guess that's why a bit of my art is a bit of a jab at them. Like, you got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone needs to check your art out. It's amazing. Like, I love seeing it. But that is really, that's really good to be able to, like, that's why research is so important, eh? Look at them. They're so gorgeous.
That way. Jade and Nita reimagined as a pansexual and bisexual couple.
And Michelle's doing me one too, so I'm looking forward to seeing that at some stage.
Yes. And then there's our Harley.
So good. Yeah. And that's and probably the biggest recommendation that we really want to make, speaking from both of us, is research is so important. And like, I can really understand this, because for me, especially when you're still mentally in, like, I was physically out years ago, but mentally I was just like, oh my gosh, like, I didn't know any other views. I didn't know anything else outside of the religion. Yes, I cracked up about that. I had nothing. The only thing that I ever learnt was the way we were brought up. So research is so crucial going forward to really discover, all these lies that we've been taught, and and just to get that clarity, that understanding that, this is all bullshit. And the facts are there. And I think that's the most important thing, is you get a bit scared, as like, oh, is this all made up? But the facts are there.
Yeah, you can see it. Like, it's not, you can tell it's not photoshopped, and it's legit. Like,
because it even took me a while, even like watching stuff, I was like, oh, I don't know. Like, is this made up? People, because you get taught that, like, don't research outside of yourself, because all of it's false, and they have that manipulation.
Witnesses.
Yeah, that's right. So I still had that mental, like, oh my God, I don't know if I still believe it, but just keep researching and keep,
And I think in that respect, I was quite lucky for myself, I guess. I don't know if lucky is the right word, but that I did just do all that research, and I just kept doing it not until I was convinced, but more to try and disprove it and be like, no, this can't be right. And then you just keep finding more and more, and you're like, this is, I can't argue with these facts. Like, it's,
Yeah. And I was the same. Like, I just had to keep going. And I'm still like looking at stuff, and and still researching, and it's just getting stronger confirmation the more I research and stuff like that. So it is pretty incredible what's out there. Definitely a big awakening, right?
Yeah, definitely. And like, it's not something that you just like, it's not like I read all this stuff and I was like, okay, bye, and then la la la, lived a happy life. Like, it is still hard, but it's just, I know to the very core of my being that was not the truth. I was in a cult. I was manipulated and gaslit into staying in. Do you know what I mean? So it was
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I remember going through this transition, and let me know how you went through it. Like, a lot of emotions came forward. like
I
just like
still cry.
this can't be true, you know. Like I was just like,
Yeah.
this can't be true. I've been taught this since I was 8. Why
Yeah.
are they lying to me? So then you go through a process of you know being really angry, being really sad. But I guess the biggest thing is just to allow that to come forward, to just express that
You have
instead
to,
of
because otherwise later on it's going to turn around and bite you if you haven't dealt with it properly. You know, so for me, it's sitting with the emotions, going through it, and recognizing that, you know, okay, I'm sad right now, I'm crying right now, but in an hour, I'm not going to be. I'm going to redirect my focus into something that will lift me up, rather than sitting there and being sad. And even if you want to do that, you can do that. It's not a permanent state of being, you know.
Yeah, and just allowing those, like, you know, being able to cry is actually a beautiful healing. It's very much a part of it. Like
go away.
allow it to come out, yeah, and then just just
like
let it free.
I think my point being that it doesn't, like, my anxiety and depression didn't switch off, but I did realize that it's a result or part of being brought up as a Jehovah's Witness and within my family environment, that those two things have conspired together and it made me into a nice anxious dumpling that you see before you.
Absolutely.
So it's just now being able to deal with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Anger that you've been lied to, and then mourning for the loss of a divine future, and then recovery. Yeah. Awesome, William. Yeah, absolutely. And because it probably took me a while, actually. I probably spent quite a long time in that mourning stage, just like, whoa, I was wasted all my life. But, you know, lucky we have so much more life to enjoy now. But, back then you're like, whoa.
It definitely affected nearly every part of my life. And I have to, every time I think I'm not good enough, think, no, it's okay. That's just the witness side of your upbringing talking, or your mum. Tell them to shut up. And just keep going and try and fix everything. Like, it's still messy for me now. Like, I still am going through stuff, but talking about it helps. Finding people in the similar situations helps. And, like, even me just being on here right now, like, I would have thought that I would have needed to have my life together before being interviewed. But no, just put it all out there. You know.
And that's what people resonate with, eh? They don't resonate with like, everything's all cheery and happy.
Yeah.
You know, people want to hear the real shit. You know, they want to hear when you're down and you're low and you're feeling like crap. You know, that's the person that they resonate with, that authenticity. And what I've come, because, like, to be really honest, like, when I started this healing journey, I honestly thought, there's an end result and I'm going to find my happiness at the end of this course. But what I've come to learn is, like, it never stops. Like, you never stop healing. Like, we're going to be healing for the rest of our lives. Like, there'll be something else. But that's what makes life so exciting, is there'll be something else that we get to unravel. We come across another shadow and we go, what is this representing? Like, what is this about? Where does this come from? How did I feel this as a child? Or what was that traumatic experience related to? And, you know, the more we do it, the stronger we become, and we're able to get the tools to support us on that journey a little bit easier as time goes on. I just noticed that I can do a little bit, like, I can heal a little bit faster, or I can kind of nip it on the bud before it turns and festers into this huge story that makes me, you know, once upon a time very suicidal.
Yes.
Oh, Michelle, there's a question here. How did you find the courage to take charge of your life?
I don't know. I just did it. I don't even know if I found courage. I've got ADHD and I can't stop talking, so I just keep going.
Yeah, good.
So yeah.
Yeah, but
I think
there would have been something like, because Michelle, you're a real passionate person, and when you have something that you're strongly passionate about, and then you find some truth or you've been lied to, you just go like, nah, I'm just you make a firm decision, right?
So I
Is
think
that
it
where
was
you would have
like,
got your courage from?
to be honest as well, would be that I made it through last year by myself. That was probably the little kernel of, I don't know if I'd call it courage, but just a little push that let me go, you know what, let's just go and see what happens.
I can do
And
it, yeah.
so it was like, I'll be okay if I'm by myself. It doesn't matter if no one loves me, because I will love me. And I've got Nacho, who's here, and he seems to like me. So
Beautiful.
I just keep going basically for him and for the hope that the person I become, you know, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so beautiful, babe. I love that. And and being able to sit back and witness yourself, and you can actually sit back and do this now and be like, whoa, what an incredible year. Like, if we can really, I think the beautiful thing is to reflect back on that, because sometimes you go through your life and you're like, oh, have I actually done anything, or have actually created any meaning in my life? But when we can go back and sit back and go, holy crap, like write all these things that you've achieved in your life, like got a new job, like you've created a beautiful community, because you went from being so lonely to going out and searching for a new community of people that are like-minded like yourself, that are on the same journey, have the same beliefs, have like similar stories. And this is what we want to encourage to everybody in these groups. So especially this one is like, please keep sharing your stories.
And I think especially like what's important for myself at the moment as well is uplifting and elevating other female voices, because what I noticed when I was leaving is what I felt was a lack of diversity in that respect. And that I can't relate to being told, oh, I couldn't do microphones anymore. I'm like, okay, well, I couldn't do microphones in the first place. Like, let's how does it feel when you're a woman in the congregation and then you leave?
Yeah.
And the specific struggles that might entail. And that's why, like, with this channel, it's been amazing that Shane has had us like 6 ladies up there, and every couple of weeks we get to chat to each other.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
And so I guess the same motivating factor behind creating the XJW Ladies and Laughs with Val Hannah von Goth, my twin in Pittsburgh, I think. I love it a bit. She actually had her own idea, and I was like, hey, I was wanting to do that too. So we just went for it, and it's just been amazing to see the kind of the memes and jokes that women have. That's just a little bit different than what men might do.
And I love it. It actually lights me up. Like, if it pops up on my news feed, and I just have a little giggle, and this really starts my day off. Like, just not taking life so seriously, and just seeing the funny side of life. And and it's so good that they pop up, because I'm like, oh my god, it's hilarious. So let's dive into, like, I really want to talk to you. About you've come out, you've created this beautiful awakening, you're on a journey to, like, actually, I just want to do all the things that I've always wanted to do, that I've been inspired to do. So let's talk about women empowerment. And let's dive into that and talk about that journey for you, like how important women empowerment is.
It's very important to me as well, because being a witness that was, women are silent. We can't teach, we can't do anything, can't have any say in judicial matters, which obviously what the findings of the Australian Royal Commission said, that you need to have women on your committees, which is just so true. But coming from that environment where I never trusted myself, I never got to feel, empowered, is that I want to try and help other women feel empowered the best that I can. And the only way that I know how to do that is to make jokes and be silly, or do my art. and just hope that it helps someone, and obviously keep talking about it. But yeah, I don't know if that answers the question. I got
Yeah,
lost on my
absolutely.
own thought train.
Yeah, and that's a beautiful expression. Everyone has their different, strengths, and yours is definitely, and yeah, like your personality comes out in your work through your art, your creativity. And so tell us, like, so what's a bit of your intention and your mission going forward with empowering women? Like, what do you want to see going forward?
I just more spaces where we can talk and talk about our experiences to one another, like, other women that understand, and it's not an exclusive place as well. Like, we want to be inclusive, but we just want to have that platform where we can put out other women's voices.
Yeah. And how did it make you feel being in the organization? Like, how did it really affect you mentally to just know that you didn't feel empowered?
Mm-hmm.
What did that do? Like, how did you cope with that? Like, how did you get through that?
It made me feel like anything that I said was not valid, and that I couldn't trust even my own thoughts. Even just down to I think I gave this experience at our last ladies panel chat thingy, how there was a sister that I knew who was from here, and a brother who was from another country that was serving in the Spanish, and he had the maps, and she was like, I think it's better if we go this way, and he's like, no, I'm the brother, we go this way. Like, just seeing those little things on a daily basis and being like, oh, okay, well, I can't even say anything because I'm going to be wrong. To now being able to try and speak and be like, you know what, like, I'm not wrong. Yeah, I think. I keep getting lost in my thoughts.
It's okay. You just got so much to talk about.
Yeah. Is it worth anything though? I don't know.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, all of it. Everyone will resonate in some way or another. My mum used to wear because my dad was he studied for quite a few years, and she used to always wear a towel over her head.
Oh yeah. The head covering.
Yeah, head covering. Yeah, but she just had a towel. and I was only little, but I was just like, why do you have to do that? Like, I loved my dad; he was really cool. But I was just like, that's so weird that women can't even say a prayer or, and when a man is present, like, why does she have to put something on her head? Like, I just thought that was weird.
Actually, that has just reminded me of, I think I was hanging out with some friends. My friend was dating a guy from out of town, and his two friends had come up with him, and they'd all been drinking, and I wasn't. And then we'd ordered pizza or something, and they were like, oh, someone's got to say a prayer. And they were like, we can't because we're drunk. And I was like, but I'm a sister. Like, I can't. And then, but I was like, thinking back now, I actually haven't thought about this. Like, this happened like probably 2005-ish, like so long ago. But it was, I think, one of the brothers who had the least, one of the brothers who had the least amount to drink ended up doing it. But even for that, like, for me to go, I can't do it. Like, that's the story of my life. It's like, I can't do it. And now I'm like, wait, no, I can do it. I can do it. Not necessarily give a prayer, but other things.
I know. Yeah, and you kind of sit back and you think, what the hell? Like, I can't believe, like, no wonder why we felt the way we did. No wonder why we felt worthless, right? And I've never felt like I've had a voice for years, so I get that.
The picking on, like, what you're wearing, like, I mean, I've always been, I'll say curvy because I want to be positive. I couldn't wear anything too low cut or too tight because I don't want some guy to start thinking thoughts that, it's my fault. And having been through, I was, I had been assaulted at some point. So when I was 19, I'd gone to stay with a friend. I'd gone with, I think, two of my friends down to Rotorua, and we stayed with friends of the guy that one of my friends was dating, and um, I was touched in the middle of the night inappropriately by one of the brothers present. And I ended up going to the elders about it, and I'm tearfully telling them what happened, like I didn't know what to do. And he made me do this to him, which, I just pretended to be asleep. And they were like, don't you think it would have been better if you flee next time? Like, maybe you should have done that. And like, can you imagine, like, just a random 19-year-old running out into the middle of a city that she didn't have her car, she didn't have like GPS on her phone, had no idea where she was, and Rotorua is not necessarily the safest place to be running around in the middle of the night. So I was like, why would you? I get mad about this now that I've left, but at the time I fully took it on board, like, oh, my bad, like I did the wrong thing. And it's just like, now it's like, no, you don't say that. Like, you go to the guy and you say, don't frickin' touch people while they're asleep.
Yeah, that's right. So, yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
Sorry. I know that wasn't planned.
No, and that's beautiful. It doesn't need to be planned. I love it. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing that. Like, I know a lot of people will resonate with that. And especially for women, and getting that response, and then you're kind of like, okay.
And 19 as a witness, you're very naive. Like, you're very naive.
Yeah, very. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, really interesting, right? Yeah, but it's good awareness now to look back on and be like, whoa, that is so shit.
I think if I'd been there now, I would have been like, poof.
yeah, absolutely. But and the other thing too, it's a shock. Like, that's not something that that's not appropriate, and that's not an expectation that you would expect.
Which goes to show that elders aren't trained in anything, because if they were, they would know that freeze, there's flight or freeze or fawn, and I froze. That is a response.
100%, babe. 100%. Like, you just went into complete frozen. Like, whoa. So yeah. Big eye opener, eh? So we are coming up to a 7:50 now. So you're doing a great job, Michelle. That's okay. If anyone has any questions, like if they want to fire some questions away to Michelle, like open floor, like feel welcome to do that. So how are you feeling now? Like, what really excites you?
So some of my art, like, I've managed to get hung on a wall at a cafe in Auckland, which is super, super exciting for me. That would never have been able to happen if I was still a witness. So it's, it's not all doom and gloom. Like, when you leave, like, you can take steps to make your dreams come true. You don't need Jehovah's blessing.
Yeah,
absolutely. There I am. There I am.
Look how happy you are. Like, you're smiling, like you're oozing this beautiful energy. And it really comes through. Like, even though it's on social media, like, I can really see it beaming through you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what made you just decide, like, because have you always been an artist? Like, has that always been something that you've done, or what made you just go, I'm going to do this?
So I did used to do more traditional art, like, with painting or sketching, and sculpting, things like that. And then when lockdown happened, like, all the stores were completely sold out of any kind of art material, and I was just like, what am I supposed to do? And when the second one happened, I got an iPad, a proper one. I actually had to borrow an iPad for Zoom meetings in the first lockdown. And then the second one, I got my own one, and an Apple Pencil, downloaded Procreate, which I do have a funny story about an elder telling me not to use. But I started doing just practicing with pictures from people in my congregation who then almost took advantage of it and were just like sending me pictures to do without any kind of preparation. But that's okay. It did help me practice. We good. But so I did end up posting something in my WhatsApp status, and so we had like a congregation group chat in there, and all your contacts can see WhatsApp your status. And I was like, oh, my latest Procreate practice. And it was a picture that I'd done for a friend. That was inspired by one of her own pictures. She was a photographer, and she was taking a picture of a sunset, and there were these nice hills. And instead of the sunset, I put in a sunflower because she loves sunflowers. Put in one of her quotes that she liked from a movie. That was from Into the Wild, and it was something like the core of man's experiences. Man's spirit is its experiences, or something like that. Yeah. Anyway, this elder messages me and goes, do you know that procreate means having sex, right? And I was like, what? Like, duh, but it's the name of the app, like Apple Pro, and you create. But he called me and he was like, you need to take that down. Like, you can't post some hippy dippy picture and then talk about sex. Because someone in the congregation, English isn't their first language. They might Google it and think that you're having sex. And I was like, okay, but like, follow that through, dude. Like, do you think that I'm just like mid thrust? And I'm like, yeah, wait, hold on. Let me update my WhatsApp status. No.
Yeah.
So I was really pissed off with that, and I ended up calling a good friend of mine at the time, and she was like, there's something wrong with him, because that is not at all what anyone would think. So
yeah,
I think it's hilarious now.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Shane did ask a question. So you pretty much answered that. He asked a question. It's gone now, but I think it was, what did the Jehovah's Witnesses think of your art?
I have heard through the grapevine that my art is controversial, because I think that came after I did the remake of the Cursed Woman, which is an old painting from the 1850s, I think.
Yeah.
And then I did it again, like in my style, and called it the Blessed Woman, which you can see on my Instagram. I'm not going to show it right now. And a friend of mine who did fade out, but is still obviously benefiting from contact with current J-dubs, because there's that whole loophole for them that they can still talk to people that have faded. He was saying like that my art's controversial, and I think it's funny because obviously, like, I wouldn't be doing this as a witness. I would be like killed. Not killed.
I love it, and I was just like, whoa, that is so cool. Like, it's so brave. Yeah, and I'm all for it, babe.
Love the colours.
Coming. Yeah. Stella asks, what are your goals? Yeah. What are your goals for the future?
Simplify my life and preach where the need is great. No jokes. That is not it. I'm still working on that and figuring it out. But basically, ideally, I would just love to live on a farm somewhere where I do art all day, and I just have tons and tons of dogs, and I'm happy, and life is good.
Yeah.
Oh yes, my art did help.
Sorry,
a lot.
Yeah. Does your art help?
Especially, like, it kept my mind busy with something to do. Something that was fun, and I was able to open for commissions, and so I do work for just random people if they want a portrait of themselves or their pets. And then I just started doing probably my own stuff within the last maybe like 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
And especially like the one that I've got of the harlot on the wild beast the governing
I
body.
know, that was so good.
I was just like, you know what, screw you. Like, there's a woman writing you, you beast of these men.
Yeah. Oh, that one got me, and kicks and giggles all one morning. I was like, oh
when
my
I
god.
when I was doing it, I was like, this is so gross and hilarious. Like, working out their skin texture, I don't know.
Oh shit. No, that was really, really good. And I really loved the Barbie ones as well. Like,
Oh,
that
yes,
was
thank
so
you.
good. Yeah. I was actually
Yeah.
because my husband was never a JW, but he's watched me, watch my life and go through it. And I did actually read this to him, and he just thought it was hilarious. Both of them, the Barbie and the Ken. It was so good. Yeah, keep them coming.
I get really excited.
And I reckon you could make, like, this could be a really beautiful career. And I really believe, like, once you find your passion, it doesn't necessarily feel like a job, right? Mm-hmm. And then who knows where that will lead? But I can see really wonderful things for you going through in the future. Especially, like, gosh, it'd be so cool if you actually brought a doll out. Because I'd probably you could work with the Barbie brand and be like, hey, can you guys make us some cult Barbies? And go and get a commission off it, because it's bloody awesome. I was like,
a few Mormons have been like, can you do a Mormon one? I'm like, okay.
Sure. Commission. But like, if anyone wants a commission piece, just reach out to Michelle. Like I said in the beginning, like, Michelle's, I've actually sent you a few photos, babe? And I'm like, I don't know, work your talent, work your magic. I'm all about empowering women and just all that sort of stuff. So I was like, put something beautiful in there. Now, is there a tip, like, so for someone that's on the fence and like, still not sure about, or wanting to move out but is still kind of stuck, what would be your biggest advice, babe?
I think ideally have a support network, like, have that outside of the religion before you leave. But if you feel like you're strong enough mentally, because it's going to be really hard. I mean, even if you're not strong enough mentally, do it. Like, do all the research, convince yourself. Not convince yourself. Just I don't know the word. But just make sure that if you can have a support network outside of it, like, do that, use it, and then just go. Like, it'll be the best decision ever. Like, don't be stuck being controlled by these 8 men in New York when you can be out living a real life.
100%. Reach out. Like, that's what we're here for, and we're all here to support each other.
And even people in the world, they're not. We've been made up to think that they're scary or to be converted, and that's just not how it is. Like, there are scary people everywhere. There are scary people in the congregation. I think don't be afraid, even if you're like, oh, people are going to think I'm weird. I mean, people think I'm weird. Like, who cares? I think I'm weird, and I love it. Just talk, be you, have fun. I don't know.
I love that, Michelle, because, like, I think I'm weird. Like, my kids think I'm weird because I dance. I do a dance, and they're like, oh, what is she doing? Like, but I was like, it makes me feel good, so shut up.
Exactly.
But it's a great. It's a self-expression, and if it feels good for you and lights you up and helps you on your healing journey and makes you feel good about yourself and helps you fall in love with yourself, then just do it. Don't worry about what other people think. We've had enough of that. We've been judged our whole life. It's time to start living our life on purpose now and doing things that really light us up. And making sure, like you said, get that support system there, because it's there. Speak out about your story. Let us all love on you, and if you're needing help, like, build your community like Michelle's done. really created that. She's not alone anymore. Like, she's got a beautiful support network, and we can all have that. Yeah.
100%.
I actually don't want this to end. I want this to continue going, but we'll leave it at that. But if anyone does have any questions afterwards, like, please feel free to jump in the chat. We're still going to check in. Thanks, Stella. Thank you for all your beautiful support.
Thanks, Stella.
We'll still hang in there and check any questions through the week. And I'm so proud of, like, I'm really, really mean this, like, watching you transform. Like, I am so proud. And do you know what? It would be such an honor to meet you in person so that I can wrap my arms around you and hug you and put some paint in my hair.
Yes.
Thank you, Moana. We definitely need to get together one time, when COVID's all sorted. And and if there's anyone else, especially in New Zealand, like, we really need to catch up, because I actually haven't met people in person yet. Like, it's all just been via online. So I encourage that. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. Get on a Zoom call with each other, create your little communities. If you can meet in person, that's even better. But go and have a coffee. Go and find your tribe, because I love Michelle, because Michelle, when I see you, you inspire me. You inspire me to be more.
Me.
I'm like, if she can do it, I can do it. So we're all sisters, brothers, we're all connected, and and we've all got your back. Just all you have to do is just put yourself out there and make yourself known, so that we can see your beautiful faces. And so all of our love. Thank you, Michelle, for being here, and I hope that we can do this again. Beauty.
Yes.
Me and you.
Yes.
Next time I can do some dancing and you can do some art.
I think it would be very boring to watch me doing art.
But I was like, I would just like dance. But follow Michelle. Honestly, she's amazing. I get so excited every day to see, what's Michelle popped up on her Instagram. So
there's my Jezebel one that I haven't yet put out there properly, because I'm like, it's very niche.
Can't wait.
Right, we'll get
follow it, because it's really cool. It really uplifts you for the morning. It's a really good part of your ritual, I reckon. Scrolling and then coming across Michelle's, and your what do you call them? Memes? Mime? No.
Memes.
Memes. Memes. The memes. I'm like, that's so funny.
I don't do miming.
I was like, miming memes. Oh, yeah, that's it. You can tell I'm 40, like, I'm just learning this shit. But follow her, because it's really inspiring and it just lifts you up for the day. Like, I get really excited. So thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, Moana.
Oh, you're welcome. And all our love to everybody. And peace out, baby.
You can do it.
Yeah,
you can do it.
Oh, yeah. All right, bye, everyone.
Bye.